No.
Yes. Give me
Hi.
a hug.
We're back, friends.
Yes,
Good
we
to
had
see ya.
a little bit of a break.
A little bit.
Yeah, that was a long break. I think that surprise, I had a baby.
Yep.
And I was working through a lot of emotions during that time that just didn't feel very genuine, authentic. I just was going through a lot, which we're going to talk about in this episode.
Yes.
But we're happy to be back.
Yes.
And thanks everyone who reached out and, expressed that they missed us, because we miss sort of seeing each other and talking and learning about other stories from other people and just life.
Yeah, we've been trying to keep in touch with people on the Instagram page as well, and we're still watching, people that we've connected with and their journeys and stuff like that. So we're still around and still watching everyone closely, but just had to take a break for the summer,
and we still saw each other.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that was fun.
It's been nice. I mean, talk about your summer.
Yeah. Let's do this first though. We have some champagne.
Wait, I already forgot.
We have champagne.
I forgot.
Cheers. I'm allowed to drink it. Oh, wait. I have new glasses.
Oh.
They're nothing like super fancy, and you're gonna laugh when you see them.
Okay.
But I got a card from Colleen, the night NICU nurse at Nemours.
Oh my gosh.
So she said, I saw these online and thought of you and Kristen right away because of the podcast. You're both incredible, and I think it is so selfless of both of you to share your stories. Love you, Colleen. Precious.
Colleen.
Okay, so
this is a complete surprise.
This is
to
a
me.
surprise.
I did not know that this was happening.
I'm gonna have to dip off for a minute. So, Kristen, you can have a. Remember the last time I left you alone here and you didn't know what to do? Okay. All right.
No, I'm actually really, really surprised, and you didn't tell me about this. So this is really, really exciting.
So we have these Good Grief mugs. If you're watching on YouTube, they're these yellow mugs, and they're Charlie Brown mugs.
Oh my gosh.
But they say Good Grief on them.
Good Grief on them.
So I did wash them in my dishwasher last night, so they're nice and clean.
Oh no, these are fancy. They even say Charlie Brown on the inside of the cup.
Good Grief on one side, and then there's a picture of Charlie Brown on the other.
I couldn't be happier to be drinking at this time of the day out of this mug.
Yes, we won't tell you what time it is, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere. We'll just say that.
It's too early to be doing anything, but that's fine.
But yeah, so thank you, Colleen, for seeing these mugs and thinking of us.
Oh my
And they were
gosh.
yellow, so.
I think I have to put more in mine.
Okay, yeah, it did not look full.
It didn't look full. Okay, yes. Cheers to Good Grief.
Yes, Good Grief. And to you out there, if you're drinking your coffee, 5 o'clock somewhere, water.
The tannins got in
I know,
my
I
nose.
can smell that. These are very.
Now I know why you're supposed to drink champagne out of a glass like this, because as soon as I put my nose in there,
it was like a whirlwind effect.
Yes.
A whirlpool.
I'm
in
already
my nose.
drunk.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's like a carafe or something when you're drinking out of like a wine thing.
This is so nice. Thank you so much.
So yeah, thank you, Colleen. And we're back in Good Grief. All right, so let's talk about your summer. My summer, I was big. So there wasn't a lot of fun stuff going on.
Big for you.
Yeah, big for me.
You, yeah.
Yeah, I was very pregnant. But tell me about your summer.
It was busy. It was great. I feel like the boys, Otto and Crew, Otto's 5, Crew is about to be 2 in November, and they just had a fantastic summer. We did lots of beach time. We got to see our families, both my side and Keith's side. So it was really, really nice. And I mean, Crew is just getting so big.
He is so cute.
He's so cute, and he's like 18 months to 24 months is like my favorite little age because he's just talking up a storm. He's a little chatterbox.
He could do no wrong.
He can do no wrong.
He's still doesn't know things are he's learning bad and good, but he's testing.
Yes, but he wants to be just like Otto, which is really, really cute. He follows Otto around and just does whatever he does. But it's so, I think the biggest part of the summer was just seeing how different my kids are. Mm-hmm. Otto is such the attention seeker, I'm gonna entertain you, I'm gonna show off, all about, making somebody laugh. And Crew is more I'm just gonna chill here, and I'm gonna do my own thing, and
I'm still gonna be funny.
I'm still gonna be funny, but in my own way. Oh my gosh, he's just hilarious. So he's very silly. Whereas Otto is just a goofball, and Crew is more intentionally funny.
Yes,
he'll be a jokester for sure.
And you said that it was the first summer where they were both old enough that you could like relax on a vacation for a little bit. You know what I mean? You're still racing around with kids and stuff, but you like they are sleeping well. Like you don't have to make like a lot of special arrangements for things like food.
It was
things.
my hot mom summer.
Oh, okay.
My hot mom
Yes,
summer.
I love this.
This is the first summer in like 5 years that I wasn't pregnant and or breastfeeding.
Yeah. So just you.
It was just like I didn't have to a kid on top of me at the beach.
Yes.
They were cruised down to one nap, so like he was napping just one time during the day, which is great. Otto is not napping anymore, so he's like off on the beach, like running around. Yeah, it was really nice. It was kind of freeing.
Yes.
And I really, really liked it.
What trips did you take?
So, oh my gosh.
I don't even remember.
Well, we went, beginning of June, we go to Merle's Inlet with Keith's side of the family. And then we did a couple trips to Delaware Beach, Cape Penelope, and gosh, what else did we do? I feel like we had a packed summer.
Yeah, well, you got a new deck.
Oh, we got a new deck.
So you were doing a lot of stuff here.
Yes. Yeah, it's been crazy. It went by so fast, and now that I'm like already, you would think that I was thinking about these things, but
It's funny, I literally was sitting here thinking as you're talking, like, what did I do this summer? I don't remember, because it's like October now.
I know, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, we had fun.
You were busy.
I can't remember specifically, but we had fun.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
You made memories, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you had at the middle of August, you're preparing for August's race.
Yep.
So
August's 3rd birthday was on the 12th, and we do our yearly. This is our 2nd annual race for August Grace. We're actually wearing the t-shirts that we made this year. I have the tank top on, and Sarah's got the t-shirt, and it went off with no hitch. Like, it was great. Is that the saying? I don't know. But it was fantastic, and we do it here in my neighborhood. We raised over $3,000 again this year, which is fantastic for baby Colin and little Peter, helping families. It's the foundation that we've been working with since August was in the NICU. And it was really good. So we just do a little 5K run / walk in the neighborhood here. My neighbors, the Kirschners, own a brewery. So they have like they call it the Bro Go, because they're brothers Kirschner. So they have this like, what is it? A bar on wheels with taps in it, and they open that up for us.
Can you rent that out?
Yes, I think
so you can like rent it out for like birthday parties and
stuff. And they would
events.
I think you would have to. I mean, they would be there
for sure. Yes, yeah. But I mean, like, if somebody was interested in taking it to go.
Absolutely, Kevin would love to do that if someone was interested in renting it. And I mean, the family is fantastic and super, super kind. The brothers are really funny. They're good at any event. So
yes.
Definitely highly recommend doing that.
And your family came?
Yep, my family got to come. My sister, who also had a baby, was there, and she brought my new nephew Luca, who's just so adorable and so cute. And it was just so nice to see the family and just to be with our neighborhood. Like, I've talked about this before, but my neighborhood is the best. It's just like one of a kind. There's lots of young families, there's some older families, but everyone is so unbelievably kind and supportive. And we figured that out when we were going through our grief journey with like the beginning stages of our grief journey with August, and just the support and love that we received. We're transplants. We're originally from Ohio, so being out here in Pennsylvania, this is our village. And I mean, when they say it takes a village, it really does. And the fact that absolute strangers became our village is really crazy. So I just love it. It was so much fun. Heather made the shirts this year. Heather, that's Sarah's husband's sister. She made the shirts, and she came and like did like a tent.
She set up a whole little like what do you call those, like trade show type things?
She went above and beyond per usual.
She does so great.
She made like little basket or little gift bags and with koozies in it. It was really, really cool. So we ended up raising over $3,000 between t-shirts and donations and stuff like that. So
and it's so heartwarming, just as like a grief mom, to see like people with your koozies
Yeah.
and stickers on cars. Like I love when people are like driving and send me a picture of like a Summer and they're like, who is this?
Yeah.
And it's always Leslie. Summer's making her. She's always around the town, like everywhere.
Aw, that's sweet.
But it's really nice when you see people with your August koozies. I do want to like talk a little bit about if you are watching, you'll see that like you changed the color of August is like her color. So it used to be like blue. What was your thought process? If you're listening, it's now sort of like a pinkish color. So what was your like thought process in doing that?
So this year kind of felt a little bit different. I feel like we kind of gotten over a big hump of our grief journey, and it just feels a little less heavy. And I wanted to reflect that in the colors that we were wearing this year. I just wanted something like dainty and pretty, and something that like I thought really represented how we were feeling about her in this moment in time. Yeah. So it
was like a shift.
It was a shift, yeah. It's obviously it's not easier, but it wasn't as all-consuming as it has been in the past. You know, especially as I see Crew growing, and he's like literally the light of my life. Like he is adorable. It gives me reasons to be thankful for, while it still is awful and terrible. I know that he wouldn't be here if August was here. Correct. Because I don't think we would have had another child. So we are just feeling lighter. We're feeling not like
a little joy back in your life.
A little joy, yeah, and just like it's not as all consuming as it once was, and that's really, it's really nice to feel that way, because I didn't think that I would ever get to that point. Because when you're in the trenches and you're really struggling at the beginning, you don't feel like you're ever going to get out of it. Yeah. And I just woke up one day and I was talking with Heather about what I wanted the design to be, and I was talking with my niece Maddie, and she was the one who came up with this design, and we were looking at the colors, and I was like, I think I want it to be just a little bit lighter this year, because I don't feel so bogged down with the heavy emotions. Last year I could barely walk around. Like I was like just so full, I was so tearful the entire race. I was just so fragile. I thought I was gonna break at any moment in time. This year was not like that. Of course I was, you know, tearful, but I was also proud of the turnout. I was proud of all the people that showed up to support. I was happier. I was just happier. And I feel like Keith was happier too. And now that like the kids in the neighborhood are getting a little bit older as well, they're starting to understand. Like Otto had a sister, and they're starting to like grasp the idea, and they all wanted t-shirts. So they Heather brought her t-shirt press, and people who didn't order t-shirts early like got them there. And you know, it was really sweet. It was just a sweet year.
Yes.
3 is a sweet year for August.
And it's always interesting when you have to like with summer is a season, but it's also Summer the girl. Same with August. So you're in the month of August and you're like trying to describe who August is to like kids, and they're just like, okay, yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I that's always kind of lost on me too. I'm like, oh yeah, I forget that they're probably so confused right now.
For sure. I mean, like, yeah, I love like summer, and they're like, which one?
Yeah.
Which one? I'm like, I love both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I guess before we get into like the thick of the episode today.
Yes.
I unfortunately know the other reason you were so sad at the race was because I was not in attendance.
Yeah.
My daughter was.
Yes. And he was there.
Yeah, my brother was there with Michelle, my sister-in-law, and my nieces. They all came to the race, and they brought Penny with them because I was busy having a baby.
Crazy.
And we'll get into that in a little bit. How the worlds just even more collided.
Insane.
So
Absolutely insane.
We will be back. All right, we are back.
We're back.
So I guess the last couple episodes I was pregnant.
Yes, and hiding it.
We were hiding it.
Yeah.
The last episode I really was thoroughly was our Christmas episode. I was pregnant then, but I didn't know. And we were so lush drinking our champagne by the Christmas tree.
I forgot, yeah.
I cannot wait for Christmas this year, by the way, to record our episode, because I got you a special ornament for your Christmas tree. Already.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
I went crazy on Temu nursing one night. I was like, I have to get this for Kristen. It is inappropriate, so.
Oh, lovely. Can't wait.
Yes.
My son is not impressionable at all.
Yep. Well, he won't know. He won't know. You can describe it however you would like to. It's up for interpretation.
Okay, great.
But yeah, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, so we were recording. I was pregnant, and before every episode, Kristen would be like, "Sarah's pregnant," and I would have to cut it out. But yeah,
because I just wanted to scream it from the rooftops.
Yes, it was all good things.
Yeah.
Obviously, just scary, as you know, and that's what we're gonna sort of banter about a little bit now.
Yeah.
Is, you know, my experience with my son Dawson, who was born August 12th, which is this August, her August's birthday.
Wow.
So he was born at 12:43 in the morning. So he waited right for her birthday.
Yeah.
Which is really a special moment between
It's so
us, which
crazy.
we'll kind of get into that as well. But yeah, so let's sort of get into it, I guess.
Yeah, and before we start, I just want to give this a quick trigger warning. We are going to be talking about pregnancy after loss. We are going to be talking about birth. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things that could be triggering to someone who has had recently lost a child or anything like that. So just be kind to yourself. If you don't feel like this episode is for you today, that's totally okay. But we want to protect your peace, like we always say, and just protect yourself. And you can come back to this episode if you're feeling ready for it.
Yeah, very nice. All right, so let's go back to when I found out that Doug and I were having another baby. And so scary. And I went to my therapist. I just told Kristen, she was probably one of the first ones because my test didn't show like the second line. So I sent it to Kristen.
Yeah.
And she confirmed, like, I think that's a line.
I was like,
try again in the morning. She was sending me pregnancy tests to my house. Remember that? And just being like, try this.
I was sending them from Amazon, and then I was like,
I didn't want my family to know. So I was having her send me a 50 box of pregnancy, like the strips or whatever.
And I didn't want my family, because we share Amazon with
so where'd
Sue
you get it
Carrier,
from?
my mother-in-law. So I was like, just so you know, I'm not buying these pregnancy tests for me. If you see this recently, it's just for a friend.
Didn't know that. That's so funny. Yeah, it's just for Sarah Holbeck, no big deal.
I was like,
Yeah, so it ended up being positive, and then I started doing all of the thought processes of like, what does this look like? Especially having a child who passed from a genetic disorder, things are just a little bit more complicated in the sense of like testing kind of what that looks like, I guess.
Yeah.
So the really big thing was at 12 weeks, we were able to have a procedure called a CVS, which is, I had to write it down, it's a chorionic villus sampling. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. We just call it the CVS. And it's actually where they take, they inserted a needle into my stomach and pulled out a sample of my placenta, and were able to send it away for genetic testing to see if Dawson carried the BRAT1 gene, if he had BRAT1, and also checked for any other, genetic abnormalities that there could be. Doug and I had the genetic testing done as well, and we didn't have any, what do they call it, duplicate. So his genes and my genes were perfect to have a child. Unfortunately, Summer, duplicated the gene herself, if you don't remember. So she had BRAT1 because I carry it. And then she duplicated herself in utero, so Doug does not carry the gene.
Which is really rare.
It's super rare.
Yeah.
So the odds of Dawson having BRAT1 were extremely rare as well, but it still just makes you, when that happens to you once, you think it can happen to you again. So
bad luck happens all the time.
Exactly.
We know exactly how that feels. So, and just so everyone knows, like the CVS testing, you don't normally do that in like a typical pregnancy unless there's a situation like BRAT1 or something like super rare like that, because other testing that you do at the 12-week mark can also like test for like, those kinds of things.
Yeah, the NIPT.
Test, yes. Which many people get, and I highly suggest that you just get it no matter what, just opts to do it for peace of mind. But so the CVS testing, it's kind of scary, and just the fact that they have to put a needle into your belly, like that's not typical.
For sure.
But it took care of all of the testing that you needed to get done on top of
Correct.
the BRAT1 testing.
Yeah, thank you for confirming that. And we did the NIPT, which the CVS test used to be very typical for testing like genetic abnormalities and different things.
Oh, wow.
But then they came up with they were able to test it through the NIPT.
Cool.
So that's
just a blood
pretty
test.
standard now. And that's where you can also like find the gender out early if you would like to. So we did that, and then we found out he was a boy through that testing before the CVS. So that in itself was a journey, finding out that we were not having a girl. And I will say I struggled a lot with the heartache that Dawson was not a girl in the beginning stages.
Well, gender disappointment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't want to find out his gender just because of that disappointment factor. And Kristen had said something to me early when we found out that he was a boy, that like she was grateful that Crew was not a girl.
Yeah.
Because if he was, she would have been comparing to August the whole time. Like August, this is August, not replacement, but you're sort of in your mind thinking like, this is August.
Yeah, it's like it's better for you mentally to have a boy, because I swear if Crew was a girl, I would have been like, well, this is what August would have looked like. This is what August would have, her dance moves would have been like. You know what I mean? I just it's not even like, it's not
It would
even
be easy to put them together in your mind.
Yeah, and like she deserves her own space. She deserves all of her own stuff, and I think I would mentally not be doing well. I think I'd be grieving even harder now if I had a little girl in the house after her. Like I would just be, I don't know, I would still be grieving even harder every day. Because I'd be like, oh man, like August should be here with her sister. I don't know, just it's
having
crazy.
a sister thing. Yeah, I could see. And when Kristen told me that, I was like, all right, I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Just because I was upset and gender disappointment, like you had mentioned. And I worked hard with my therapist as well through kind of the whole process.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the first like time when I told her I was like pregnant, my therapist, and I just was like, I believe, this was maybe like 6 weeks. I was like, I believe there's like a 1% chance that this baby is going to be born and he's going to survive and he's going to be healthy. And she's like, all right, every appointment that we have, let's try to like increase it.
Yeah.
So you'll kind of hear me talking a little bit about as my pregnancy went on, how it went up, and then kind of fluctuated as well. So had the NIPT test, found out he was a boy. We were excited. Like, I'm not saying I was upset that I was pregnant with a boy. It was just not what I just lost Summer. I just wanted a girl in my head. I wanted Penny to have a sister.
Yeah.
So then CVS came back, great. Dawson does not even carry the BRAT1 gene, which is a dream. So if he were to ever, decide to have children someday, he will not be passing the BRAT1 gene to them. So that's great that he didn't have to carry. And also with that CVS, they pulled Summer's sample. So it was the same lab that did it, because if you get genetic testing done, they're not going to test you for BRAT1. It's so rare. It's not even in the 400 panel. So they had to pull her sample to kind of test his and compare. So that was kind of interesting. Like they had to go back and grab that. So that was really a little connection there, I guess. CVS came back good, and then we're sort of just waiting now at this point for the 20-week anatomy scan.
Yeah. And it was like these weeks went by so slow.
Yeah,
in the beginning. First 20 weeks went by so slow, because I can't even imagine how it would have been for you. But I just know that you couldn't really, as your best friend, I couldn't see you getting excited yet.
Yes, there was no excitement. This baby is not going to survive. This is a grief, like,
this is pregnancy after loss.
Exactly, yes. This is just like, I don't even want to get attached to this baby.
Yep.
If this baby dies, I'm going to be extremely sad, devastated. But if I don't get attached to them, maybe it'll be okay.
And this is the kind of conversations that Sarah and I were having on the daily. Like, she would literally say, like, well, if this baby survives, then this and this and this, or like hopefully this baby won't die and this and this and this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like your headspace was so bad, but it's so real. Like this is what happens. This is the anxieties that you have. This is the fear that you have. This is what losing a child can do to any subsequent pregnancies after that. You know, it's just, it's all consuming all the time, and you're just constantly worried. And those first 20 weeks, I was like, I swear, I was telling Keith, I was like, we just got to get through this 20 weeks, like the 20-week anatomy scan. We got to get there. We got to get there. As soon as they see that everything's going to be fine, she's going to be better. She's going to feel better.
Yes. And, you know, I did feel better when I had the anatomy scan. So at that point, that's when they check, you know, that, you know, the 5 fingers on each hand, toes.
2 eyes,
there's
nose.
Exactly. Testing hearts, chamber of the hearts. They would check there to see if the diaphragm is closed. The brain, they check it all. So everything was great. Fantastic. You still also in your mind though, are just like, you know, with Summer, if she would have gotten a genetic testing, she would have come back clear. So you are very aware. And that's where I think kind of ours vary a little bit, where I was like, I didn't have any like I didn't know this baby was going to survive, that Dawson was going to live until I got my hands on him. I did not, anything that he did in utero, I hate it when he moved. I would just, in the beginning, I hated feeling him move because it just felt like, is this triggering? Is this Summer movements? Like, are these like very, when he's kicking, was that a seizure?
Yeah, because Summer was having seizures in your womb.
Yes.
And you didn't know until weeks after she was even born.
Yes. And there were times that like I was calling the OB to go get an ultrasound because he had the hiccups and I really thought that he was definitely having a seizure. So it took some time in the beginning. Like I would be at the hospital like on the regular, like nobody knew. I would like turn my location off and just go get an ultrasound. And he would be fine, just chilling, just sleeping, doing his thing. But it still was just one of those things until I got to see him physically and Doug and I could, you know, look at him, we would know. And that's all I said to my therapist is, I just need to get my hands and my eyes on him. Once that happens, I know I'll feel better. So after the anatomy scan, I was like, all right, there's like a 70% chance. I made it past 22 weeks, you know, the age of viability, you're kind of working your way up.
Yeah.
I'm getting excited. Thankfully, my mom, bless her, she came over, I guess around like maybe starting at like 30 weeks. She would come over one day a week and work on the nursery for me because it was kind of just like frozen in time.
Yeah.
And I still had like some summer stuff in there, but really just kind of like, it was just too overwhelming for me to go in there because I did not think I was going to be bringing a baby home. I didn't think it at all. Like I knew he was going to be okay. I felt it sort of, and I remember you saying that, like you just knew Crew was going to be okay. And I felt that, but I still just didn't want to jinx it almost.
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't want to even go in there and do anything because I don't want to make it something go wrong.
Yeah.
So my mom would come and she would help me with the nursery. So we started that around like 30 weeks. And she would come one day a week and do laundry and sort things. So that was really nice of my mom to kind of go in there because I was not. And even now I'm like, where's the swaddle, Mom?
In my own house?
Yeah, my baby's like 6 weeks old. I'm like, Mom, I don't know where a burp rag is. Please. And Mom, where's the baby Bjorn?
So bougie.
Yes. But that was always nice of my mom to do that. But in general, it was like, I just didn't want to get too attached.
Yeah.
So as his got closer to his due date, I started thinking, I went from like 80% this baby's gonna survive to maybe 20. Because I was very aware that the worst day of my life was right around the corner. Like it was impending that I was going to need to deliver this child out of me.
Yeah.
And I was very aware that like this could go either way. And my therapist said, when you're giving, you know, all of your emotions and all of your thoughts to this negative, you're doing negative. He's not going to survive. He's not going to live. You also need to nourish he is going to live. He is going to be fine. he is going to be Earthside and be the best brother to Penny. Like, you need to, while you're nourishing one, make sure you nourish the other.
Yeah, it's good to acknowledge the negative feelings are there. I see you. I know that they're happening. I know I've been through the worst absolute bullshit of my entire life. But this baby is going to survive.
Yes.
This baby is going to be healthy. This baby is going to make it. I will take my baby home.
Yes.
My baby.
Yeah, like she always says the both and. So always do them, you know, you can do both and you can be sad about one, happy about the other.
Yeah. Smart lady.
Yeah, so that was really helpful for me to just always remember to nurture both sides. And then, yeah, I guess
as he was getting bigger too and moving more,
I was more comfortable with his motions, with his movements.
Yep.
And I trusted him. Like, that was a hiccup, I could tell, because his hiccups, I don't remember them being so rhythmic. They're rhythmic. They're 2
constant,
seconds, and I'm like, this is weird. So when he would have hiccups in the middle of the night, I would just lay and just wait for them, sometimes cry, and just be like, please be done.
Yeah.
Be done. But we got all the scans done, all the ultrasounds to make sure, just sort of as we were getting closer, that everything looked good, he looked good. But I think in general, it was kind of like just until the day came, I wasn't going to feel at ease. And I think you were a little bit different than that. I don't know if you want to share. I feel like I'm kind of like taking so many, like almost a year, and just trying to condense it into a quick story. But for you, it was similar emotions, but a little different.
Yeah, I think I know that if I get into a negative headspace about something, that I will just completely drown within it. So just knowing that about myself, I just had to, when I was pregnant with Crew, I just knew I had to focus on the positive. And once I got past the NIPT test, I felt really, really good. And then as soon as, and I was getting scans all the time. But then the anatomy scan at 20 weeks, obviously I was like, look for the diaphragm, because I want to see it. I want to see it at every single scan that I get. I want to make sure that it's closed. And once I hit that 20-week mark and everything looked good, then I was like, I just need to trust that this baby is going to be okay, because I'm going to lose myself in the negativity. And I just knew that I couldn't do that with Otto in the house, because I can't fake it. If I'm so negative and just drowning, I'll be on the couch. So, or in bed and not getting up. And I knew I had to get my feet on the ground every morning and take care of Otto. So it did feel a little bit different for me after that 20-week mark. I got like very positive. And then I was just getting anatomy scans like constantly. And I'm so glad that when you felt unsafe or you weren't sure that you were going to get scans. That's the one thing that I want more women to advocate for themselves and for their baby. Go get more scans. Pay the money. It doesn't matter. Insurance will cover some of it. It's okay. You're gonna pay it in some way, wherever. It's gonna come from somewhere. Go get more scans for peace of mind. Go make sure that your baby's doing okay. It's okay. They're not going to turn you away if you start bawling your eyes out and you say, I think my baby's dying. Like, just go in there and get a scan, because it makes you feel better, and you don't want to be surprised on the day that you're giving birth. You don't want to be surprised. So I'm so glad that you did that, and it's not crazy that you did that. That's good for you. Like,
and
that's good for your mental health.
Sorry to interrupt, but I remember after summer passed, and I was like, I just had a feeling something was wrong, and my OB was like, that's why we as providers need to make sure we listen to our patients.
Yeah.
Because you know better than anyone. If it's your first kid, it's a little bit different, because you don't really know what's normal and like what's not. But if you ever don't feel right, and I went to triage when I thought I was my blood pressure was a little bit high towards the end of having Dawson, just because I was all worked up. And the girl who worked at the triage was an absolute, I'm gonna say it, bitch. And she was like, there's like a 4-hour wait. And I was like, okay, well, I have high blood pressure and my last kid died, so I'm gonna sit here and wait.
Yeah.
And then she was like, okay, well, if you just have high blood pressure, it's probably because you're nervous. And I was like, I still would like to be seen. So when I go back into the triage room, she's being so rude. And not to me, but she just like, I think having a bad day. I think too many people were in there.
It happens.
And she said something to me and I was like, I feel, you know me, I'm going to say something.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I am totally like ruining your day and I just feel really like an inconvenience to you right now. And she was like, I'm so sorry. It is not you. We just had like somebody come in. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. So whatever. She ended up being super nice to me. That typically happens.
Snapped her out of it.
Yeah, that typically happens when you have to check someone sometimes. Like,
Okay.
I didn't do anything wrong. So I told my OB about it and she was like, that makes me so sad because this should be a place where you can come and feel seen, feel heard, and know, like, look, I just want to see my baby, make sure everything's good.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time I went to like deliver, I was like, I think I'm in labor. And she was like, great. She's like, cool. Like, she was like, I was like, I think I just saw like a couple other people come into labor. And she was like, I don't care, honey. It's job security. Like, she was so nice about it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can feel like an inconvenience. Like, I felt like an inconvenience that first time. I'm like, oh, sorry. Like,
yeah, but we're talking life and death here.
Exactly. So we want women and the providers, they want that to be a resource. So if you ever feel something's off or something feels weird or you just want to see your baby, go.
Yes. I know. I never would have done that with Otto. As a first-time mom, I never would have done it. And I didn't. I only got one anatomy scan with him and everything, thankfully, was fine.
Yes.
But shit happens.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
We'll reconvene a little bit and
We'll talk about
Dawson.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yay.
All right.
Good grief.
We're holding up our mugs.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks again, Cully.
These are so cute. I love them.
They are. She was cracking up. She's like, I didn't think there was a huge Charlie Brown on the side, but I just saw good grief.
That's what makes it
That
the
makes
best
it
part.
so funny. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it.
We should make that the thumbnail.
And it just says, good grief, Charlie Brown.
Oh my gosh.
Move it, you football head.
Oh my god. Wait, is that Hey Arnold?
Oh, that is Hey Arnold. Okay, sorry.
I know, but you're
That
thinking
is
of Lucy
that
and the
stupid
football.
that scene, yes, with the football.
Okay.
All right, so let's fast forward to the birth.
Yeah.
I won't do like too much of the birth story just because it's quite uneventful, which is nice. It's very basic, sort of, I guess. But I was in active labor that whole weekend. So his due date was the 21st. That weekend of August's race was what, the 11th? Was the race the 11th?
The 10th.
The 10th.
Yep.
Which was Saturday?
Yes.
Saturday. Yep. So I did not come and attend the race just because I was having like active contractions and I just felt like I was going to go into labor at any moment. And it had started a couple days prior to that. So like things were happening, they would fizzle off. Things would happen, they would fizzle off. And I feel like only having this being my third child, like I knew something was going on with my body.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
if it
yeah,
was my
you
first,
know.
I'd be like, I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Was that a gas pain?
Right.
So every time I woke up, I was like, is this the time? So I did not attend the race, but Penny was here. And then that Sunday morning, I was like, I need to get this baby out of me. I've been having active contractions forever. So I did drink the midwives brew, which is like castor oil, green tea. It's like a little concoction. But I knew that's
Don't drink it unless your OB says it's okay.
Yes, please do not drink it unless you're
Crazy
or like to term. It is fully safe to drink. They say sometimes it does not work. It has worked.
Didn't work for me.
It didn't work for Kristen
with August, yeah.
But that's a whole different thing. Why we think it didn't work.
Yes.
But I did it with Penny and with Dawson. I was, like I said, I was already in active labor, so this just sort of gave me a little.
Yeah.
So
he was coming.
Yeah.
He was gonna be.
He was on way out.
No matter what,
So he had already dropped and everything. So that Sunday morning, I had drank the brew. This is the 11th. I had drank the brew Penny was with my family, so I knew she was like safe, loved, having a blast. Apparently she didn't ask about me one time, so that's fine. So it is so funny how just your whole world is just like your only child at that time, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Otto to you before Crew was here was like, you can't do anything without this kid. Like, you feel like you owe your life to them.
Mm-hmm.
So Penny didn't ask for me once. That's fine. So she's having a blast. So I drink the brew, start going into like active labor around like lunchtime, I guess. So by like 4 o'clock, I was like, Doug, we need to get to the hospital, because if I cannot get an epidural, I'm gonna throw something through a window in the hospital.
Yeah. You don't want to be too late on
Yes,
that.
I did not want to be too late, because I didn't know how far along I was, like how far, because I was already like 3 centimeters, I think, at my last appointment. So like I knew anything could happen, you know.
Yep.
I was eating my dates, I was doing the things.
All of the things you need to be doing.
Yes. So I didn't even text Kristen that I was like going to the hospital. I was just like, let me go and see. So I go to triage. They're excited to see me. The lady was so happy. And she goes, oh, you're gonna stay. And she's like, you actually bumped someone who was like waiting to get induced. And I was like, oopsies, because I was getting induced that Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
So I was planning on getting induced anyways to deliver with my OB, but I had a feeling I wasn't gonna make it. And she said, well, good thing you're here, because you would have been bumped probably on Wednesday, because I think they had 20 inducements scheduled for that day. Like, I came in and they had they just bump you.
Yeah.
And it can happen, especially because I really wasn't high risk.
Nope.
You know?
Yeah.
So the baby thankfully was healthy. So it was good that I kind of went in sort of on my own terms, which was nice. So here I am, I'm thinking like, I'm gonna have this baby today. It's the 11th. I do not want to deliver this baby on the 12th, because I do not want to take August's birthday. Like, I did not, and hindsight, like, you know, Kristen will talk a little bit about this, but hindsight, it ended up, you know, being a special moment. But I texted Kristen, it might have been like 8 o'clock, and I'm in delivery, and it's just like a picture of like me in a hospital bed, or like the bed or something, and I was like, and I wrote, hey, ... sent the picture, and I was like, I think I'm having a baby or something like that. And you're like, what? And I just wrote, I am so sorry. It was like the most genuine text, like, it's so sorry, I didn't want the baby to come.
No, you said, I'm gonna do everything I can in my power to get this baby out before 11:59 p.m. And I was like, don't you fucking worry about that shit.
Yeah.
Like, all I care about is this baby coming and being healthy. Like, do not worry about this baby being born on the 12th.
I was so upset that you were gonna be mad, that I was not like mad, but like taking that day away. And we've had discussions even since Dawson's been born, like how we want to sort of celebrate that day. But I just think in my head, if somebody had a birthday on Summer's birthday, I would want it, I put myself sort of in your position, and I was like, I would want it to be you.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody else.
Right.
So if you have a baby on February 23rd, not coming to their birthday party. But it was just sort of like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's something special.
August was born on my sister-in-law, Keith's older sister, Courtney. My nephew, Braden, her son, was born on August 12th.
Yeah.
So, like, she already shares a birthday with my nephew, which is fine. Like, it just makes us that much, it makes it insane.
Yes.
Absolutely insane.
I agree. And so I get in there, 4 centimeters, they break my water around 6 p.m. thinking like this is gonna sort of get it going. Nothing happens. 8 p.m. they're like, do you mind starting Pitocin? And I know a lot of women don't like Pitocin. I'm like, I wish you would have given me that at 4 p.m. when I walked in the door. But let's start it now, please.
Yeah.
So we started, and like 10 o'clock, she's like, you're still 4 centimeters. Midnight comes around. She's like, you're 5, maybe 6. Keep in mind, this is midnight. He was born at 12:43. I am like 5, 6 centimeters at midnight. She's tracked, the nurse, when I say she, the nurse was tracking the, heart rate on the monitor, from her with the desk, I guess, when they're all working. And she comes in at like 12:15. She's like, his heart rate keeps dropping. Sometimes this happens. Let's just change positions. So I'm like, okay. not freaking out at all.
Yeah.
But
Why'd you come in hot saying that?
Yes, right. So I lay on my side and she's trying to get the monitor, and you just hear like his heart rate going really quick, like wow, 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 wow. And you hear it going down. And she's like, don't panic unless you see me panic. And I'm like, she literally said that to me.
I'm like, too late.
She's like, don't panic unless you see me panic. This happens all the time. Sometimes they just, they're big, they're moving in there, blah, blah, blah. So I get on she's like, lay on your side. So I lay on my side and she's like, oh, okay. She can't get it. And you just hear like a wah, wah. And I'm facing Doug, he's holding my hand, and there's just tears in my eyes, just tears, because I can't do anything. So I'm glad that she's being attentive to the situation.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, she goes, where's your call bell? I'm like, okay. So I'm like, literally, I'm like, right here. And so she pushes the button, and it's like, hello? And she's like, heart rate down, heart rate down. And my room becomes a crash room. This is a crash room. And for the best way possible, the crash team pretty much comes in, all the nurses come in, they all have duties. One is like, one turns the lights on, one is like readjusting the Doppler on my belly, one woman is like, roll over. So the nurse like, roll over. So I roll over, the doctors like come running in, and she literally feels, she's like, I'm gonna check, oh, his head is right here. You're about to deliver your baby.
That's why the heart rate was going down. He's in my birth canal.
Yeah, he is about to have his heart rate taken outside of your womb.
Yeah.
So
there's nothing wrong with his heart rate.
Yeah, it was
just moving.
He went through the canal that quick. So by the time that she was like, it's time to push. And I was like, okay. And she's like, did you not feel him down there? And I said, well, for the last 15 minutes, I thought like his heart rate was down. He was like gonna die. So now I feel him.
Yeah.
I did not feel him prior to.
I was numb.
Yeah, I was numb, but I just feel him now. So I'm gonna push.
Yeah.
So the doctor came in and she was like, okay, yep, he is right here. She goes, do not push a lot because he
is rip you open.
He is coming out. He is coming out quick.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little like bloop. And it was funny, I think I told you, before she had come into the delivery room to check me at like 8 o'clock, she's like, should we start Pitocin? She feels my belly and she goes, I think he's like 6'5". He's 6.5, 7 pounds, but he's like a little tiny guy. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, whatever. He came out, he was crying, he was stretched out, hands up in the air, legs flat. Like
which is different than Summer.
Yeah, Summer didn't cry ever. She was as tight as a ball.
Yeah.
So
he checked all your boxes.
Correct. Yes. And then he like latched right away, like just as a comfort thing. Like those were the 3 things I just like distinctly remember Summer not doing that I wanted.
Yep.
That I remember Penny doing. Summer didn't do. That I was hoping that he would do. But yeah. So when he came out, he was 6 pounds 6 ounces.
Yep.
So he was right on target with what the doctor said. But yeah, it was just a great experience all around.
Yeah.
It's just something that you just can't put into words, sort of that feeling
of
just having like a healthy baby after loss and knowing that the baby is like healthy as well. You just can't put it into words.
No, and I was so excited for you. Like, that's why I think when you texted me and you're like, I'm gonna do everything I can to get this baby out, I'm like, I am just so excited for you to finally have that feeling of holding your healthy child in your arms, because it is unlike anything else. Because first of all, you feel like a superhuman pushing a baby out of your body. And it's so emotional and crazy that you just did something like very, very hard. But you are also holding your rainbow baby that it's just like you can't put it into words.
Yes. It's like the best gift that you can be given. Like something that, this is where I'll get emotional. Like you can't, like he brought back something in me, like in that moment, and he still continues to provide that for me. When he doesn't have to, because he's literally 7 weeks old.
Yeah.
But I think, like just sort of providing that light back, and like the world doesn't seem as sad to me anymore. Like I don't find joy. Like before it was like I had to be deep in the grief. I had to be deep in it.
Yeah.
It just felt like that's where I needed to live. And now, like, I'm on this outside perspective where I still mourn summer, I still cry for summer, but it's not as often anymore. Like, he provided. It's probably that he needs to eat every 2 to 3 hours and change diapers and have all that stuff. But I think it's just been a nice welcome, you know. It's been good for my heart.
It brings back a piece of you, a piece that you know you've lost. And like when you wake up after a devastating loss and you look at yourself in the mirror, you know, that's not me. There's something that is missing from me. Yeah. And you're never going to get it back. But to be blessed enough to have another baby after you've lost a child, and to get that just a little tiny piece of your old self back is a really, really, really good feeling. And something that I always feel very, like I said, blessed. Like, I just feel very lucky that I was able to have another child after I lost August. And not a lot of people get that opportunity. Some women struggle so much with fertility and infertility and having more babies, and they struggle in their grief and they don't want to have another baby. And it's just like, I just feel very lucky that I got just a small piece of me back, and I was so excited for you to have that opportunity too, because it feels so good. And then you're just busy, changing diapers and burping and
people, and I was like,
and
when I was with my therapist, when she was like, all right, like postpartum, what is this? What do you want it to look like, you know, when you deliver? And I said, I want people to come to my house and bring me champagne and bring me fun things instead of bringing me flowers. And I said that to her. I was like, I just want people to come and it to be a joyous celebration.
Not funeral-like.
Yes, I don't want to come home with a baby not there. And like, I want, when the feeds come in the middle of the night, I'm so thankful because I was pumping in the middle of the night when Summer was in the NICU. I didn't have, like, I was setting my alarm to wake me up to pump for her in the NICU. Now I have a baby to do it. So I understand that the moments are fleeting. Yes. He's not going to be this little forever. So I think for me, it's like I'm welcoming having I don't care if you wake me up at 3 a.m. I don't give a crap. Yeah. It'll be gone. And you're going to be sleeping through the night before I know it. Knock on wood.
Yeah. But no, even when you ask me, you're like, what did you do for this? I'm like, I don't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It only lasted so long and then it was over. So yeah, you just gotta drudge through it. But it's just, you're so grateful in that moment, like just to be awoken by a baby cry.
Yes, yeah.
That's your baby.
Exactly. My therapist was like, you can be very grateful and tired.
Yes, it's
and I'm
very
like,
true.
Good, okay, yes, I can be tired, but I am very happy. So I think just having a little like spark back, a little energy is pretty nice, even though I just had a baby. But
and I was at the beach for Dawson's birthday and August's birthday, which is so cool that they were born on the same day.
Yeah.
And because that's what our family likes to do for August, just to be like at peace at the beach. We had some friends from Ohio come and visit. They were at the race, and then they went to the beach with us. So that was fun. We did like a little birthday cake or whatever. And I was just like, this is so cool that I'm about to leave the beach in Delaware, and I drove straight to you.
Yeah, straight to my house.
I need to go straight to see the baby.
Yeah. And you brought, and Otto and crew came, and Otto went straight to my basement to play with all the toys down there. Like he let himself in.
Penny?
He let himself in. Yeah. And he just went straight to the basement.
Did not care.
And you were like, where's this baby?
Yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to see. And then crew was like, Dawson was crying because he needed his diaper changed, and crew was like, oh, he crying. I'm like, it's okay, buddy, it's okay. I'm like, all the boys leave.
Yep.
Get out of here.
Send them away.
Just go. So and then the boys went home, and I got to stay for a little bit, and it was just so good.
And I think I'll say we'll end sort of on this note is when each of the kids were born, I had a playlist, not a playlist, but we would listen to Beach Boys radio. Because we like the Beach Boys, it reminds us like fun summer times. So when Penny was born, Beach Boys radio was playing You Can't Always Get What You Want by the Rolling Stones, which is fitting because Penny was, we didn't know if she was a male or female, we didn't know her gender, so it was like, you can't always get what you want, and that was Doug's dad's favorite song when they were growing up, and then, unfortunately he passed right after Penny was born, Doug's dad, so it was just like a nice fitting song. And then when Summer was born, we did the same thing, and it was Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, which is so crazy. But I do love that song by Elton John. So it's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. So then when we had Dawson, it happened so quick. I'm like, Doug, put the Beach Boys radio on, hurry. And so he put it on, and then in the moment, I did not hear what song was coming on. And the OB who delivered was like, did you get this song? And I was like, no. And she was like, it was What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. So
Crazy.
that is the What a Wonderful World was the song. So when she told me that, I was just like, ooh.
What a nice bow on that gift.
And when I put the song on for Penny, she goes, this sounds like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Because he's like, he has that deep voice, like, I want what a wonderful world. She's like, this sounds like the Beast.
You're like,
so I'm like, let me see if I can find a like Christina Perry cover of this. Yeah. Thank you. All right, yeah. So that is what's been happening.
Yeah, that's the big surprise.
That's the big surprise.
Yeah, we've been keeping it a secret for a long time. And the last reel that we made, the twin, where have you been? Oh my gosh, you were.
I took it the same. We took it the same day as the last reel.
Yes. Oh my gosh, your belly was just like straight bumping, so you had to like sit underneath the table.
Yeah,
and
if you're
like,
watching,
you can't tell from here up. You can't tell.
Somebody was like, I couldn't tell you were pregnant in the beginning of the video where I'm like popping out with my belly.
I know.
And I was like, my skin looks horrible. I feel like, you're just like the pregnancy. Yeah. And you look like a model always. And I was like, I don't look like that.
Listen, I went 5 years not looking my greatest. So.
Well, if you have another one someday, God willing, we can switch.
We can swap it.
Switch roles. But yeah, so thank you for being patient with us.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Busy moms.
Yeah. We're excited to get back and we can see each other.
I know.
Like once every week or two.
Yeah, for sure.
But tell the plans for like what we're thinking next episode.
Yeah, so this is about Dawson's like entrance into the world, and I think like next episode we can do a little bit more about pregnancy after loss. So we'll dive into a little bit more about that. We can ask some questions on our Instagram and see if anyone has anything to contribute. So we'll kind of dive a little bit deeper into those kinds of anxieties, frustrations, fears, things like that. Maybe we can get some stories from other friends. I know we have a lot of people who have been pregnant after loss. My sister, my sister-in-law. So hopefully we've got lots to talk about next time. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers.
See ya. Cheers.
Dink. Good. I didn't want to break it.
Yeah, right. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you. See you next time.
These are chunky.
They are.